What's happening, fam? L.A.R movement still moving. Society's growing animosity to single mothers. I live in the suburbs in a pretty mixed, diverse area of race and class. And I thought about making this blog just for single black women in general, mothers in general, but it really applies to everybody. Like I'm not even gonna I ain't gonna put that shit on y'all. That's nah. First thing, the animosity is growing because a lot of single mothers um, can't control their kids. Their kids run the show. A lot of single mothers, when parenting out in public, they're doing whatever it takes for them not to get on their nerves personally, but being inconsiderate to the society surrounding them at the time. A lot of single mothers have a tendency to look very confused, dazed, frazzled in public situations that make no sense. Just i.e., you ever notice if you go to like a grocery store or Walmart or fast food restaurant, the single mothers there like they don't know what's there. They get in line and they all of a sudden they just it's like they forget the I don't know what they forget. I really don't. And I've heard people say, sometimes some women have had kids and it fucks up their memory and brain, but they look like they lost in places they shouldn't be lost. And it becomes annoying. Uh, a lot of single mothers will go places that are maybe appropriate or not appropriate for their kids to be. And I think it's kind of like a society's pushback to, you know, a lot of this fatherlessness and blaming fathers in America. Well, where's your daddy at? The daddy left. The daddy's no good. The daddy this, the daddy that. Because now it's so prevalent that you you can blame bad fathers for being bad fathers, but it's also so many good fathers who get thrown under the bus, and you can see it like just as many bad single mothers are under the umbrella of good mothers. There are as many good fathers under the umbrella of deadbeat fathers. So now you have police officers that see it. Now you have teachers that see it. Now you have just regular people walking out in public to the store that wouldn't. There may be grandparents or elderly people who see it. Now you're having the lawyers seeing it because in the court legal context, we have all these biases and stereotypes, and it's supposed to be one way or the other, and this, that, and the third. But in society's playing out of it, people are getting sick of seeing how a lot of these single mothers ain't the best parent, and you can tell it. When you go to these schools and these teachers are frustrated at these kids because these kids are messed up, and they say, "Oh, their daddy's not in the house," but at the same time they say, "I'm the mother and the father." You can tell it. At the same time, when you see kids are not prepared for life, but they can shop, you know that's a disconnect. You know what I'm saying? So society is kind of starting to push back because I'm seeing people aggravated when I go out to a degree, just aggravated that single mothers are there. Like, oh, one of these, god damn it, these bitches done showed up. These goddamn kids. Why? Because a lot of time your kids are a representation of you. And you go to a grocery store and you see kids looking raggedy, don't look right. When you go to these schools and you see these kids can't speak or not advanced, not necessarily advanced or up to par with their age group, don't look right. when you see these kids, and even on the flip side, when you see these kids very fashionable but don't know shit, it doesn't look right. When you see these kids who are boys and too feminine and girls and too masculine, it don't look right. And people are starting to look at it like, no, these women fucking up. And it's to me it looks that way because I think people thought that a mother being the first teacher and being supposedly more responsible or smarter and more mature than men would have a better handle on how to handle kids. But to a degree that was true. They did know how to handle kids, but they didn't know how to prepare kids to be adults. So now we're seeing in public like, oh, I could see this kid gonna be a fucked up adult, and I don't need you fucked up people around me. And that's where it becomes a generational problem. It becomes a class problem. To a degree, it becomes a race problem. It just becomes a problem. But now, what are you gonna do? You know, like what are you really gonna do? Because from the way I see it right now, maybe it'll change in court, maybe not. Because I don't see a lot of these single mothers being able to pay child support, so I don't see the system catering to fathers. But at the same